FerociousWraith. What's up, my fellow fiends? Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're going to be discussing Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. I played this game on the PlayStation 5. I completed the story to completion. I started some of the so-called end game, where you start doing the seasons of various things. So with that, I think I have just enough knowledge to do this review. So let's get into it. This game is yet another attempt at a live service co-op game by Warner Brothers, but also we've had the likes of Avengers and Gotham Knights. Well, this one is not too different. I will say it is definitely better in terms of gameplay. Definitely a more interesting open world that you can explore. But this game does not have the legs to survive. Before I even get into the review, I just hate to say it, but if you enjoy this game, enjoy it while you can, because I just don't see it surviving for years on end. It's already dipping in player count, and a large reason of that is due to just how they treated the Justice League. So let's get into first, let's talk about gameplay. There's some positives and there's some negatives here. I think that the gunplay is smooth. I think it works. I think it's snappy. It's not too bad. There's some fun little mechanics like shooting the legs and then meleeing an enemy to get your shields back. That stuff's pretty decent, right? Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of variety with the combat. Not a whole lot of different types of enemies. You find that you're shooting the same enemies, doing the same objectives over and over throughout the whole game. There's not a whole lot of different types of missions, and sadly, they restrict you on how you want to do these missions, especially with the side missions. You'll find that, oh, I have to get critical hits in order to damage this enemy, or I have to do grenade damage only, or oh, I better shoot this weird tentacle thing in order to actually do any damage. And let me tell you, if I have to play for 20 minutes just to try to find one of those damn tentacle things and I can't find one, therefore I have to quit the mission, that's not fun. All I want to do is shoot some enemies. Have some fun. Maybe a horde mode type thing. Just let me do what's fun in this game, and that's getting a friend, maybe friends, and just shooting up enemies. But instead, this game decides to make it tedious. In fact, it even has the worst possible thing you could have. Escort missions. In 2024, are you kidding? This game, while it could be great, it just, for every right step it takes like 2 bad ones. The traversal, I will give props to. The traversal is very fun. I think each character has a nice little mechanic. You got Harley with the swinging. You got Shark with the jumps and the boosts. You got Boomerang with the speed force, just going crazy all over the place. And then you got Deadshot with the jetpack. So they certainly get the traversal right. The finishers are pretty fun, but there's really not a whole lot of meat to this game, I gotta tell you. And, as far as tedious things goes, there was one point during my playthrough where I found I was doing no damage whatsoever to any enemy, and then it takes me forever. I think there's a glitch, but then no, I just read my gun, and it says, can't damage grunts. I'm sorry, get good, look at the stats. Haha, loser, I can't believe you picked this gun, you're a dumbass. And that's not fun. I just want to play the game, I just want to shoot the enemies, I just want to, be my Suicide Squad member and just have a blast. But this game just doesn't do anything that would really benefit a co-op game. It's just sad and unfortunate that it has to be a live service. In my opinion, I think a game like this can be leagues better. Yeah, leagues. See what I did there? if it just was a good co-op game and had replayability. Look at a game like Ultimate Alliance. You get to play as a giant roster with tons of environments and tons of mission variety, and you're just like, I'm going to replay that. That's a damn good time. But with this, it's a live service, so there's really no point in replaying it. And then by the time you do finish it, you're like, do I really want to spend all my time and money with this game if it's not even complete at launch? That is where it fails. But I suppose now we should talk about the story. And get ready, ladies and gentlemen, this one's a doozy. So, of course, you can imagine with the title, you are the Suicide Squad. You are now tasked with killing a rogue Justice League that has been taken over by Brainiac. So, as you can imagine, you're going to fight each member of the Justice League in different boss battles. And, well, that's basically it. You sometimes have to grind to get to a mission, or you have to do some weird off-world things, but why don't we break down the Justice League, right? So, as I'm going to tell you now, this video is full of spoilers, so let's just get to it. Each boss fight feels almost entirely the same. You have to do a counter shot every now and then, which that's one thing I didn't mention earlier, is that when you're aiming, and if the enemy is about to attack, you can press a counter button in order to stop the shot, maybe get some shield back. Well, with these boss battles, you're just pouring bullets and timing your counters into these enemies, of course, them being the Justice League, and they're running all over the map. You can't even aim at them, but if you thought that these characters were going to get a good send-off, maybe a cutscene even, for their death, they don't. Instead, you deplete their health bar after a very boring boss battle, where maybe you'll occasionally get down once or twice, depending on if you can get your shields back or not. And that's it. You kill whoever it is, Flash, Green Lantern, you kill them, and that's it. There's no cutscene really. They're just dead. They don't have any final words. They don't try to play any little thing where the Justice League is sort of aware that they've been taken over. The only one that has any sense of the fact that they're going to get taken over is Batman, which, okay, you knew we had to talk about this one. Well, Batman got probably the best lead up to the boss battle that any of them had. There was actually, I want to talk about this real quick, it's a positive. The museum scene was really well done. Essentially, Batman targets each and every one of the Suicide Squad as you're in this little museum that sort of recaps the events of Arkham. All that is amazing. Best part of the game, hands down. And the boss battle with Batman, the lead up to it with the fear toxin, not bad at all. Pretty well done. Unfortunately, Arkham Batman is given one of the worst send-offs I've ever seen for a character so well beloved. This has nothing to do with Kevin Conroy. For now, we're talking about Arkham Batman. Rest in peace, Kevin. He's going to be in other projects after this, or at least one other project, so this isn't his last project, thankfully. But all the stuff about, hey, they disrespected him and Batman, that's irrelevant here. We're going to talk about Arkham Batman, the character. What they did, they have Harley Quinn just talk, grab a gun, pull the trigger, that's it. He barely gets any dialogue. Harley just executes him. That's it. That's his send-off. You could have had him heroically sacrifice himself, to save people, to save the Suicide Squad even. But no, instead you gave that role to Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is essentially your your Justice League member that's not corrupted. And she certainly is one of the higher highlights of the game, I would say. However, I think Batman would have been a better idea if you're going to have a Justice League member be uncorrupted. But anyway, Batman gets executed, that's it. That's your Arkham Batman ending. Many people found out about this before the game even released, therefore causing massive outrage before the game was even out. This game was unfortunately target of spoilers. I absolutely despise that all these games get leaked before they release. This especially destroyed this game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. The fact that everybody knew Arkham Batman would be, just disposed of in such a unceremonious way, like the entire league, just unceremonious, no good cutscenes, that's it. And it's just like, man, this is not really fulfilling. But let's go to another positive, because this has been very negative. The characters themselves, the Suicide Squad, the side characters like Penguin, Poison Ivy, pretty well written. And of course, don't forget Amanda Waller. She is phenomenal. The entire cast that you usually spend time talking to, pretty good. They all do a very good job. I enjoy the banter between the Suicide Squad members. But like I've said about this game, the story isn't too great. I mean, it's fine, but it's just very aggravating we're just aggravated as fans of the Justice League and fans of Arkham Batman. Unfortunately, they just didn't give them good material, so we're just frustrated. But on top of that, the game is just very repetitive. There's really only a couple different types of things you do. You do objective-based bullshit all the time. You just defend a point, capture a point, escort a vehicle, kill some enemies, defend plants. That's it. That's your game. Just like Avengers, maybe not just like Gotham Knights. At least Gotham Knights had some interesting mission design. For how mediocre that was. At least it had something. At least you got to go into places and take out enemies, blah, blah, blah. But this game is just like Avengers. Just absolute laziness. Like, nobody wants to sit there and play these for hours on end, especially when there's hardly any customization for the Suicide Squad. And let's get into that real quick. Essentially, you have only like 2-3 outfit types unless you pre-ordered. And what makes it worse is you can't even swap the heads on any of the outfits. You're stuck with whatever you're given for that outfit type. And it's just so restrictive. The only way you can unlock any sorts of alternate attires is through the Riddler challenges, which is essentially your basic run-of-the-mill, go through the rings and then do it quickly type of bullshit. Which I'll also say is very bizarre. They sort of made it so that these were restricted for different characters. So like it'd be more recommended to be like King Shark for a challenge that goes high, or Deadshot for, I don't know, flying around, that sort of thing. But it's a little weird when you're restricted to like one character when you're playing with a bunch of other people, and you can't even get the challenge done depending on your skill level because you're forced to be, your character when you need to be like King Shark, for example. So it's like, why is that the only way to unlock costumes when you should be unlocking costumes throughout the game? A good game gives you costumes for everything you do. Like Marvel's Spider-Man, for example, Ultimate Alliance. You get costumes as you do things in the game. It feels rewarding. This game does not feel rewarding. You get guns for some mission types, obviously. You get your gun at the end of the thing. You get your gear. But at the end of the day, it's just stats. You don't get any costumes. You don't get any new abilities, really, besides, different elements. It's all basic, run-of-the-mill gear, looter, shooter stuff. And it's just not what we wanted in our DC team-up game. So, yeah, and let's end off on the fact that the game has you defeat Brainiac, but get this, he decides to be just another Flash boss battle. Meaning, let's just go ahead and say it. The Brainiac boss battles are just going to be revamps, redos of all the boss battles in the game. That's boring. Are you kidding me? Like, what are they doing with Suicide Squad, man? I don't know. But they want you to defeat Brainiac like 12, 13 times in order to actually complete the game throughout these seasons. And I gotta tell you, after defeating Brainiac once, I don't really want to do it again. And there's not any side missions and modes that would keep me playing. A game like this, if I could have one recommendation to keep it alive, just give me a horde mode. Just give me a mode where you set up a little base, you put down defenses, and you shoot enemies. Boom. I would have a lot of fun in that. But instead, they just want you to do the same repetitive, boring, objective-based missions constantly. And it is time we have a change. We're paying $70 for these games, maybe $100 you get the deluxe, and instead, what you're given is half the quality of other games that come out for $30, $40 that are just filled to the brim with content and filled to the brim with variety that it's just unacceptable now. These big budget games should be doing so much better. I mean, I don't know. DC was really doing well with the Arkham games, and now they've really slipped. Marvel has them beat with Spider-Man right now, so let's hope DC figures it out. Give us a Superman game. Give us something different. But anyway, that's pretty much all I gotta say about Suicide Squad. I could talk more about the story, but to be honest, I just want to get these things off my chest, so thank you for sticking around for what must have been 17 or 18 minutes of rants, but yeah, I said what I said. Just don't restrict my fun, in games. Just make something that would actually make me want to keep playing, not the same boring objective games that we've just had for so long. We don't need an Avengers 2.0. You already saw how that worked with Avengers. The same thing's probably going to happen to Suicide Squad, and it's just sad. I would really like to see these games succeed. So, yeah, that's about it. I'll see you in the next video. I'll do more of my Shakagavi and maybe my Mayor Fisk too. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, take care, guys. Peace.
Ding 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 ding